We both actually come from performer families.
We grew up doing it with our folks when we were kids. We moved to New York in 2008. And then between the two of us, one of us always had a Broadway show.
That was our life. That was a blessing. So March 12th, 2020 came, and I was performing as Rhonda Graham in Tina, the Tina Turner musical here in New York on Broadway. You started to hear rumors, and then the governor said, we're shutting down Broadway. It evaporated overnight. And then we both got COVID.
I had to really focus on breathing. Every night before I went to bed, I would just pray that I was going to get through the night.
We were in an industry that was decimated, completely shut down, and we were used to having jobs, and that was no longer an option. So we had to dip into our savings, and then eventually we pulled out some of our 401k to help us just make it through this time.
My 6-year-old daughter and I started a business selling bracelets.
It felt like theater wasn't going to come back. It felt like somebody had really just taken our lives away.
Jessica and Eric join us now from their home in New York. Thank you both for joining us today. Listening and watching your video diary. You know, we don't want to forget, clearly, because we're still in it. But those dark, dark days, as we talk about refresh and rebirth, Jessica, Broadway is coming back. I mean, it's crazy to think about, right?
We made it through.
How does it feel to know that those lights are going to be back on in those theaters?
Oh, it just feels incredible to know that. I got the call from my agent a couple weeks ago with the good news that Tina had set an opening date of October 8th. And I immediately bent over. I was on the street on the phone, and I immediately just sort of collapsed in tears, you know, of relief, of joy, of a little fear, just because everything's going to be different to a certain degree, but more than anything, just an overwhelming sense of hope and joy.
Well, Erica, that's exactly what when my team and I were talking about spring refresh. I said, you know what, we people feel good. We know our battle scars. We will have opportunities to tell them and share them, and they are relevant. But we have to celebrate to this refresh of people being able to get back to work. And we talk, Eric, a lot about big shows. We can't forget about those small theaters and off-Broadway shows.
And regional shows all across America, which are the root of what Broadway becomes. There, you know, all the theaters across America have kind of just been on hold, waiting for the sign and the okay to be able to continue to do theater. You know, and there are many venues, like outdoor venues and stuff like that, that are ready to go.
Well, I think it's important. You know, the arts and culture adds $877 billion to our economy here in America. I mean, it employs 5 million people. It adds 4.5% to the GDP. And so I think that people often think about Broadway and they just think of New York City, but it is across this country. You know, we can't fully recover in America with our economy until the arts and culture scene is robust and back and blooming.
So when you got the word, Jessica said she, you know, fell over in joy. Did you start going in the shower saying, me, let me get I got to get it together. You start doing stretches, and because it's a grind. Those schedules, those theater schedules are no joke.
No, they're not, especially when you're parents. We have a 6-year-old, so our hours are even longer because we have to get up in the morning with her. But we definitely, more so than getting our voices back, I think is starting to like hit the gym and get the bodies back. You know, the quarantine was real.
The quarantine was real, even for Broadway stars. I'll tell you what, we have this whole refresh week, mind, body, soul. We may have to come up with some kind of Broadway how to get back in shape thing, and I'll let you two lead it for us.
Living in New York helps. There's a lot of steps in New York, so you know.
Well, you know what? I'm so happy to see not just the two of you, but all of Broadway, to your point, all of those theaters across the country get this refreshed to make all of us a little happier as we move forward. Thank you so much, and congratulations on all your success.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can't wait for Broadway.